So the next one is interface concept. So first one we have seen abstract class, and second one is interface concept. So interface, so they're adding a lot of changes to the interface in each release. So we have Java 20 already released, okay, so this September 20 is coming up already. So then we have one, but still we are using in Java 11. You can use, but a lot of changes are coming up this for interface. So in Java programming language, interface is similar to class, okay, similar to class. So, but there is a lot of difference again. So the class and the interface creation. You can create a class with a class keyword. You can create object for a class, but you cannot create object for interface. But interface can be created with interface keyword. So that's the difference you can observe there immediately, right? And you can create object for a class, but you cannot create object for interface. So don't confuse, there is a lot of difference. So, and interface inside, you can have only constants, no other variables, only constants, and default static methods and abstract methods. So these are the methods you can find inside the interface. So the method body exists only for default methods and static methods. So interface cannot be instantiated. They can only be implemented by classes or extended by another interface. So that means an interface can have constants, abstract methods, default and static methods. It have. So which methods have a body? Default and static methods have definition. That means body, method body will be there. And abstract methods, generally, there will be no body at all. And where you can implement this interface in any class. That means class can implement any interface. A class can implement any interface. So that's what an interface means. Or you can extend, interface can extend another interface. So in Java 8, we can have a default and static methods they added in Java 8 only. Before, so Java 8, only you have abstract and static constants only. In the, so Java 7, till Java 7, only constants and abstract methods. No more methods. No more no default methods and static methods. But in Java 8, they have added, so this default and static methods. In Java 9, so they have added private methods also in the interface. So why we need to use interface? So you remember in the inheritance, I told you one concept. You cannot achieve multiple inheritance in case of class. If you want to achieve multiple inheritance, you need to use a interface concept. Interface will support multiple inheritance. That means one interface can extend to multiple interfaces. Interface 1 extends, interface 2, interface 3, interface 4, like that, n number of interfaces you can extend. So that means multiple inheritance is supported by interface, but class doesn't support. Remember that. I have given the reason also and explanation for that. And why so interface will support? Interface, you cannot create object, right? And you are not implementing in the interface any methods also. So you will implementation will happen only in the class. For class, you can create object. Even the duplicates also there, and it will be pulled up only one method you will implement, not duplicate methods from different interfaces. That's where the problem has occurred in the classes, right? If different classes are having same method, and if you call that in the child class, and compiler will get confused. Which method logically it has to call, right? From A class or a B class or a C class. It doesn't know. Compiler will get confused. So to avoid that, they are not supporting at all inheritance, multiple inheritance in case of class. But in case of interface, that is possible. You can do that. So how to declare an interface? So to declare an interface, you will use interface keyword. Like you're creating a class with a class keyword, right? Same way, you can declare a class interface with the interface keyword. So interface body can contain abstract methods, default methods, and static methods, constants. So an abstract method within an interface is followed by a semicolon, but no braces. That's what the abstract method means. So it doesn't contain any implementation. So no definition you will provide. So just you will declare the methods later. So this interface can be implemented in any classes. And so in the Java 8 onwards, they added a default methods. How you will declare a default methods? So default methods are defined with a default modifier. So you will write a default keyword. So in the signature, so default void method name parenthesis curly bracket body curly bracket ends. That's the default method how you will write. Don't confuse with the access modifier, default access modifier. That is different and this is different. In the interface, default methods are defined with a default keyword. You have to write a default. So default keyword you have to write. And the static methods, you know how to create static methods. So by default, all the methods are public, implicitly public. You don't need to write also. If you don't write public also, by default, that will be a public method. So even abstract methods, so default methods, so static methods, those are all by default public. Even if you cannot, reduce the scope, public to if you write protected, it will throw error. So these abstract default static methods by default public. Even constant also by default public only. You cannot reduce the scope to so less. So less means protected default private, right? You cannot write. So default methods, why you need is default methods enable you to add a new functionality to the interfaces of your libraries. For example, different libraries you are developing, you can write your own implementation with a default method. So that purpose they added default methods in the interface. And so in addition to default methods, they added a static methods. So basically static methods are library methods, utility methods, some helper methods you want to develop, then these static methods will help you. So basically static methods, if you develop every instance of the class, can share these static methods, right? That's why they are developing static methods concept also in the interface. So you can easily organize the helper methods in your libraries. That's why they added this. So these are the two reasons why they added default methods and static methods. So a class only can implement the interface with the implements keyword. How interface is implemented? Class implements interface. So that means you're using implements keyword. You're using implements keyword between class and interface. So public class, class name, implements interface name. So then what will happen? What are all the abstract methods are there in the interface that must be implemented in the class? All the methods in the interface you must implement in the normal class. That's the how the implementation will happen. See, this is the one. So first we are creating an interface, access modifier, interface name. So curly bracket. So you can declare like, int words means this is the final variable. Public static final keyword. See the here, can you observe here? This is the access modifier. These two are non-access modifiers. Static final non-access modifier keywords. So even we didn't write these public static final keywords. Automatically, internally, implicitly, these three keywords will add for your constant, even if you don't write also. So automatically they will be added. So, and abstract methods also. By default, public abstract keyword will implicitly will add for your abstract method. You don't need to write abstract keyword in the interface, but in the abstract class, we need to add abstract keyword, right? But here you don't need to write explicit. So by default, a public abstract will be added. And default method starts with the default keyword like this, default void method name parenthesis logic you can build. Static methods, you can write static void method name. So you can write a logic. These are having a body. See, abstract methods doesn't have body. Anywhere the abstract method structure is like that. They are not going to have body. They just declared, that's it. The implementation of these abstract methods will happen in the class. So interface naming conventions, same as a class. So what are the naming conventions of a class?
Access modifier, class name.
Naming conventions. How you will write a class name? That's okay. Syntax okay.
Okay.
With capital letters.
With capital letters, everywhere.
Everywhere, first letter.
Yeah, every word first letter you have to write in capital letter. Remaining letters are lowercase. Here also similar. Every word first letter should be in capital. Remaining letters are in lowercase. So that's the same you follow for the interface also. Basically, class is a noun. Interface is an adjective. So you can define like that. Class name, implements, interface name. So this is the one. So public class, see this is in the WebDriver, how they implemented. Public class, Firefox driver, implements WebDriver interface. So this is how you can know. This is an interface which is implemented in the Firefox driver class. So like that, we have each browser, we have one class. So that class inside this WebDriver methods are implemented. So that's the interface, right? Interface methods are implemented in the classes. So how can you map interface and implemented? You implemented, you already done. So you already done. So how can you map interface and implementing classes? How can you call? You already done implementation. How can you call them? Then you have to write left side interface name. That's a parent type, right? This is the parent type. So first left side parent type, reference variable equal to new implementing class. This is the runtime polymorphism concept you have to apply. Why? Because this interface can be implemented by many classes. So which class you will create object, that class methods will be called, right? So you remember the method overriding concept. The parent, that reference variable will point to child class object. So when it point to child class object, and this with this reference variable, you can call only overridden methods, because all the methods from interface are overridden here. One minute. Okay. So class name, implements, interface name. So that's how each class, so that is going to implement this interface methods. That means every browser logic is different. So browser wise, they will develop those methods in each class. So if you want to run your test script on particular browser, you have to create that browser related class, you have to create object. That's how these logics are very important. This, if you remember this syntax, easily you can create object for that class. Which class is implementing this interface, that class you create object. So I'm going to show this same, because in the WebDriver, you will use this entire thing here as it is. See, void methods, how can you call? Reference variable dot method name. How can you call return type methods? Return type of the method, variable name equal to object reference dot non-static methods. So this is the how you can call these three lines is important. The first three lines of code you are going to use in our automation. So this is the first one. You want to initialize your browser. This is the first formula you're going to use. So, and then you want to call one by one methods, then use this reference variable and call which method you want. If it is a void method, you call directly with object reference dot method name. If that method is returning some value from the page or from the browser, and you store in some variable, and you can reuse that variable value wherever you want. Otherwise, directly you can call this return type method wherever you want. So these are crucial. And so what is a marker or a tagged interface? I'm not sure, but I'm just giving this is an interview question. That's why I'm giving, but I never used this where it is used also. But so what is a marker or a tagged interface is? So an interface which has no member at all, that is called marker or tagged interface. It's one of the interviews they asked. That's why I included this here. And there is a functional interfaces in Java 8, and this is a very important functional interfaces. So what is functional interface? So functional interface is going to have only one abstract method and n number of default methods. That is called functional interface. If more than one of so abstract method is there, that's not a functional interface. So if you include an annotated like this, at the rate functional interface, that interface must have only one abstract method. If you don't annotate, you can include more abstract method. That's a normal interface. But if you annotated like this, and inside the interface, if you include more than one abstract method, it will throw error for you, compile time error. So only one abstract method will be there. You can write a number of default methods, however, how many you want. So that is this functional interfaces. Functional interface concept is very useful in the Lambda expressions, Lambda methods. Okay, so that implementation time, this is widely used. So that's another important concept. In Java 8, they introduced this functional interfaces. And so another important thing is, so I want to give a relationship between class, interface. So what is the relationship? Then we'll close this today. So tomorrow we'll see the problems, how to create a programs. A class can extend another class using extends keyword. You know already this. One class can extend to another class. So one class cannot extend to multiple classes. That we have already read in the interface. So a class can implement an interface using implements keyword. An interface can extend another interface using extends keyword. It cannot extend a class. Okay, so here, class extends class. Class implements interface. Interface can extend another interface. So that's the relationship. Please remember these relationships. And also, one interface can extend to multiple interfaces. So a class can implement multiple interfaces. So this is the multiple inheritance. Okay, so you can easily achieve multiple inheritance with the interface concept, multiple inheritance. So last widely asked question in the interface is the difference between abstract class and interface. So very important, mandatory interview question, this one. Even for developers and testers, this is the mandatory interview question. So first you can tell the definition. So and tell definition in both abstract class and interface. And then second point you can give. Abstract class can have abstract and non-abstract methods, right? We have seen that. Second point here, first point in the interface can have abstract methods, default, static methods, and constants, right? So abstract class doesn't support multiple inheritance. Interface supports multiple inheritance. Second point. Abstract class can have final, non-final, static, and non-static variables, but interface can have only static and final variables. So abstract class can provide the implementation of interface. Interface cannot provide the implementation of abstract class. Never going to provide implementation by interface. Interface inside you should not implement anything. It doesn't provide it at all. So the abstract keyword is used to declare an abstract class. Interface keyword is used to declare an interface. So abstract class can extend another Java class and implement multiple Java interfaces. An interface can extend another interface only. So that I have shown you just relationship. Abstract class can extend using extends keyword to the child classes. An interface can be implemented in the classes using implements keyword. So Java abstract class can have class members like private, protected, all different access modifier you can have, right, for the methods. But members of interface are by default public. You cannot reduce. So remember this, based on this point, they are asking a lot of questions. Can I reduce the scope for the methods and variables? No, you cannot reduce. Okay, so these are the theoretical part of interface. Please read. This topic is a very, very important and special also. So don't ignore and read multiple times so that you'll get a better idea on this. One time it's difficult. Read. So n number of times that will help you. Yeah. Thank you.